Under the Startup Accelerator project, this is the learning of MS Excel basics. The basics of MS Excel. That is what we will be exploring in the session. The objectives of this session is, the basics of MS Excel. Firstly, creating and saving a workbook. That is where we start. Moving ahead into navigating the tabs, groups, and commands. I mean, these are all sections. The second point that is there. These are all sections of the ribbon, as we call it. In the MS Office suite, the ribbon. So a ribbon comprises of tabs, groups, and commands. So beyond that, it would be understanding cells, rows, columns, and cell reference. Just to elaborate a little bit on this, and compare, like in a Word document, it is the basic unit of a Word document is a page. Okay. And we refer to it as a page. In PowerPoint, we refer to it as a slide. And in Excel, we refer to it as a worksheet. And within a worksheet are cells, rows, columns, and of course, the reference of that is through cell reference. So we will we will understand this also. And then we will also be learning how to insert data in cells, because each one, a Word has a different way, PowerPoint has a different way, and Excel has a different way. So this is what we will, as to how to insert data. When say referring to data could be anything. It could be words, alphabets. It could be numerics. It could be symbols, anything. All that is referred to in under one group as a data. Besides that, we will be, Ruth, you have a question for me? You raised your hand.
Sorry, pardon. I had internet problem. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay. So, besides that, what we will also be exploring is how to insert and hide or delete rows and columns. There are various ways by which we can do that. And we will also be exploring that how to do that. So with that, just wanted to know, a little bit of knowledge. Check, have you tried your hand at MS Excel? A yes or a no answer would help me, because with that itself, I would, I would also be, since I would be sharing tips also on, while we proceed with the session. And these small questions would help me, in sharing relevant tips also. Moving ahead, just.
This is and I have not.
Okay.
Nor
Thanks.
have I.
Okay.
I have worked just a little bit with the Apple platform numbers, but I have not worked with Excel. So I have sat in on one other Excel class, but it was a bit overwhelming at first. So I'm back again to absorb a little more.
Okay. Thanks, Deb. And thanks, Enda, for sharing the information. And thanks, Neelam ji, also for messaging me that, about not having conversant with Excel. So this information that I'll be sharing is just for, this is just information, MS Excel, how to access it or how to reach that. Of course, it is installed as a software, in computers, especially in Windows-based computers, and even it is compatible with Mac and all. So it is installed as a software, and the maximum features are there in a software. Okay, and it is subscription-based. The next, we can also access it by creating a Microsoft account. This access is through a web browser, and but then there are limitations that it's not the full Excel that is available. And on smaller devices, we can access it, the application through phones by downloading applications from the respective Play Store. Okay. Now, just a little bit of information as to what is Excel. Excel is a part of the Microsoft Office suite of software. If we have the Office suite, then we naturally have Office, the MS Excel in there. And it is a spreadsheet. Okay. Spreadsheet is something very similar in appearance, to when we were when computers and all were not there, or in the early part of our maybe our studies too, we used to have those graph sheets, where small blocks of thing. So similarly, it is that when it became digital, it transformed into one of the ways in which it transformed was it became a spreadsheet. And it is developed by Microsoft. Microsoft is the owning company. It works both in all devices, in Windows, in Mac. In Mac, it does not come direct. We can install the software there. And in Android and iOS, of course, we can download it from the Play Store. What it does is that it presents tables of values arranged in rows and columns. We will be doing all this. So right from the basics, so not to worry about that. And there are certain features, the last part especially, we will be covering in the intermediate session, in the intermediate one, where we can do calculations and tables and all that kind of thing. So it helps a lot. I mean, it's a vast software, but here we will just be doing the basics. Now, in a worksheet, just to give you an idea as to how vast this worksheet is, the total number of rows that are there, okay, I mean, it is mind-boggling, okay. Don't get overwhelmed by this, but then that is the amount of rows that are there, okay. Similarly, the number of columns that are there, 16,000 columns, okay, 16,000 plus columns. And, the width of a column can be up to this, up to 255 characters. The height, again, not, is 409, just to give you an idea as to what all, the specifications of Excel are. These are basic specs, and I mean, in a cell as such, we can place in 32,000 characters there. Okay, all this we will be, exploring. And by default, in a workbook, there is one sheet. In Windows, in Excel 2000, from Excel 2016 onwards. And of course, this is characters. Now, I will be putting all this in the notes of the section. So, in the notes of this session. So you'll get all this information on your notes also. Now, moving over from here, I will stop sharing screen from the slide deck, and I will be sharing screen from an Excel sheet, okay, or Excel, an Excel workbook. Just give me a moment while I open up a sheet, and here we go. Back to sharing screen, and yes, what you're seeing here, is my Office, my Windows version is a Windows 10, and I have Excel 2019 attached loaded on the system. Now, After opening the app, after opening the software, we get to this screen. Okay. And from this screen, if anybody is using it, the best thing is that there are a lot of tours also, which we can examine to get an idea about what Excel is. Okay. And besides that, if I have to open a blank workbook, the first option that is there, I just click on that. Okay. There are two ways I can click on this, as well as in the green navigation tab, there is an option of new. We can open it from there also. So these are two locations from where we can open up a blank workbook. So I click on the blank workbook, which is there at the top, and this is what appears. This is the, I will just increase, yeah. This is what the first interface of Excel is. First time you open Excel, by default, it will open something like this. Okay. Now, first things first, we are working on a software. Okay. A software is something which is installed on the machine, be it a laptop or be it a computer, it is installed there. So first things first, we save the file. We give the file a name and we save it. Okay. Now here, if you're watching my screen, at the top it says Book 1 Excel in the green band right at the top. The first, it says Book 1 Excel. Now this is unnamed sheet, so I go on to saving it. Okay. In Android, Neelamji, I will, if I have time, I will share an Android screen also. Okay. So going on to file, which is now on this face itself, at the top where we are seeing file, where we are seeing file, home, insert, page layout. All these are different tabs. We call them tabs. Okay. Anybody referring, to the fact that please please go to the insert tab, means we click here and we click in the insert tab. Okay. Or if somebody says go into the data tab, we go into this tab here. All these tabs, they have within them, okay, within them they have different groups as such. Okay. When we say groups, if we look at the home tab, you'll see the first one, there is at the bottom it's written clipboard. Okay. Clipboard literally is a one group within which there are commands of copy, cut, paste, and format painter. Okay. Similarly, in the groups, in the group font, we have the option of choosing the font, choosing the size of the font, making it bold, italics, underline, and so on and so forth. So these are, and each group is demarcated by a straight line. And this is common in whether we are working in Word, whether we are working in Excel, whether we are working in PowerPoint, it is the same thing. Okay. So when I say same, means the same arrangement. The commands could differ. Now, and within these groups, there are other functions also, which if we see the, if we see the screen, say, for example, I am on the group of font. There is a drop-down arrow on the right-hand side corner of this. Okay. And I mean, it is a diagonal kind of an arrow. And sorry about that. And if I click on that, okay, if I click on that, it will open up another dialog box for advanced kind of functions there. Okay. So there are certain functions which are advanced, certain, are already there. So this was, and it happens in all of them. Now, as I was saying, the home has these. If we click on insert, we'll see the first one is tables, the second is illustrations, add-ons, third one is page layout. It has different commands. It has different, groups and commands there. So we need to have an understanding, just the terminology, rest we can explore, and best about any software is explore it. Okay. As there's nothing to lose. That much I can tell you. There's nothing to lose in exploring. So in order to save this file, I have to go to the Files tab, which is the first one. I go on there, and then in the green band or the navigation tab, I get an option of say Save As. Okay. I click on that, and then it takes me to the locations that I have on my system. I select a location, and when I select a location, for example, say I want to save it on the desktop. I click on desktop and go to the relevant, place where I want to save it. Give it a name. I say SAP Excel Basics. And I save it as Excel Workbook. Okay. There are other options also for saving it, but we save it as Excel Workbook. When we get more experience in Excel, then there are other versions also in which we can save. But for the time being, it needs to be saved as MS Excel Workbook. Okay. And we hit the save option. When I hit the save option, you can see at the top where it was book 1, it has now become SAP Excel Basics. Okay. So that's how we save a file. Okay. Now the file's name is given. One of the things while working on the software is, after doing some, giving some commands, always press the Control S or, save option that is there, because this needs to be continuously saved. Because God forbidden, if for any reason the file closes or we close it, we may lose information that we have filled in. So tip number 1, although autosave is on, but still after doing some work, save it. Okay. So that we don't lose it. Now, coming over, like I said, that's why I asked those questions, because based on those questions, I share tips also, and especially useful for early users. First time, those who want to get a hand of it, it's very useful for that. Now, on an Excel sheet, now this is, a worksheet. Okay. Now, on this worksheet, these small blocks, these individual blocks that we see, okay, these are called cells. Okay. This where I am writing this, now, for example, I will just increase the zoom. I will zoom out a bit. Yeah. Now, can you see a green box on the shared screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for confirming that. Now, this here, this green box, this is the basic constituent of an Excel sheet. Okay. Now, it will, any cell, now this is the unit. When the cells are placed side by side, okay, it becomes a row. For example, if the highlighted portion that you are seeing, okay, the highlighted portion that you are seeing is one row. Okay. Rows run horizontal. Okay. Rows run horizontal, and they are cells, individual cells placed next to each other. Okay. They are cells placed next to each other. Now, this was row. At the beginning of the sheet, rows are always in numeric numbers. Okay. Now, for example, right now, the third row is highlighted. Okay. Going back, the fifth row is highlighted now. And these numbers are not repeated. Okay. Let me tell you, these numbers are not repeated. If I were to go down, towards as we continue, if I go down, you can, if you watch the left side of the screen that I'm sharing, the numbers will keep on increasing. They will not repeat. Okay. So, and this will continue till, the number of rows that I told you that an Excel sheet has. I mean, 16,000 odd. I mean, I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I don't remember that. Okay. So this was rows, cells placed side by side. Now coming to columns. Okay. Columns is the opposite. Opposite in the sense that it is cells placed one on top of the other. Okay. For example, and a column is represented by an alphabet. Okay. And those alphabets are also unique. Like you're seeing here, A, B, C, D, and I think till I you can see on the shared screen. But if I go forward, okay, if I go forward also, you'll see, the numbers, the alphabets, they will not repeat. Okay. After say Z, just to give you an idea, and now from A to Z was here. Okay. After that, it goes on to AA. Okay. And similarly, after AA is done, then it will go to AB. It's a long, as we go, we can continue. But no two columns will have the same alphabets. Right? So these are and how do we, this was the, you could call it the practical definition of cells and rows. I mean, theoretically, there is a lot to say, but this is the practical information. Now, when we place a cursor, our cursor on any cell, like for example, in C, I am placing it at Ruth, you've raised your hand. Anything I can help you with?
Okay. On the last.
Your voice is cracking. If you could put that in the chat box, maybe I will read that out and answer your question. Okay, thanks. Thanks for the understanding. Okay, so now, now for example, if in column C, I place my cursor here in the second row. Okay. Now, wherever the cursor is, or whichever, this cursor is here, that means that the cell is active. Okay. Active in the sense that I can enter data into it. I just switch on, I go to my keyboard, I start typing, data can be entered. Okay. Now, this data will remain in this cell. Okay. Just to let you know, it might visually see, you might visually feel that, it has gone off right up till the column E, but that is just visual. As soon as I, kind of increase the width of column C, okay, you will see that it is still in column C. Everything that I wrote was still in column C. It has not gone to D or it has not gone to E because my cursor was here. This is the cell which was highlighted, and this is the cell, this is the place where I am inserting the data. If I move over to the next, then that particular cell will capture data. Okay. Now, for this, for example, this cell, okay, it has data in it. There are two places you can see this data. One is if you are on this cell itself. Second, if you see this white portion there at the top, we refer to it as the formula bar. Okay, I'm just increasing its size. This white band that you see, whatever you type here will also be visible here. Right? So not to worry, if we can't see what is here, we can always check what is here. And they will be the same. It's not that we... Saurav, if you could please check on the muting part. Okay. So, we can see the data here. That is one thing. Second thing is, wherever the cursor is or whichever cell is active, if you see before, this white portion, just the first white section that is there, okay, you will see the cell number C3. When you see the cell C3, that means that the cursor is at cell C3. Okay. That is cell reference. When we say cell reference, that is cell reference. For example, all the data that I have entered till now is in cell reference C2. Okay. That's how we get to cell reference there. Now, any questions on what I have shared? Any questions from anybody? You can unmute yourself and ask me. No challenges with that. If there's anything that you wish to know, you can unmute yourself and ask me before we proceed further. Ruth, you wanted to ask me something. You can unmute yourself and ask me. Your mic is unmuted, but I think the voice is not reaching our end. Okay, so I will continue. Never a problem. Even in between, if there is anything that if I'm going too fast, you can always ask me to go slow, or unmute yourself and ask me to go slow, or repeat something that I have shared. Now, coming back, so now we know what we have explored till now is, the tabs, the commands, and the ribbon, the cell, the row, and the column, and their references. Okay. Now we are going to be talking about entering data in Excel. Okay. This is something which, I'm being very honest with you also, that when I started working on Excel, it seemed as if I would not be able to do it. Okay, because I couldn't understand head or tail of what was happening. And then I just quit. I would just work on MS Word, make those tables and that. But then there were many things I couldn't do, because at that time, Word was not that advanced. Now, of course, there are many features that have come in, but at that time it was no. MS Excel, we can apply mathematical calculations. Okay, so we don't need a calculator. And that helps a lot, okay, especially in the repetitive functions. So it was the same with me, and not to be overwhelmed by that. It's very easy. We just need to get our basics right. Now, in order to enter data, okay, data is entered in cells. Let me be, this is basic information. Data is entered in cells. Cells are there both in rows and columns. cells placed horizontally are rows, cell placed vertically are columns. So if we hear that cells, data is entered in rows and columns and this, not to be overwhelmed. It's just simple cells. Now going over, if I have to enter data, first things first, I have to move to that cell. I am on cell, in column B and in row 2. I want to make a home, budget here. Okay. So what I do, first things first, at the top, I want to write the headings, the elements of my budget. So I write here headings. I go into that into that cell and I write headings. Next, I want to write value besides that. So there are two ways of doing it on a computer. One is just placing the cursor in the next, block or the next cell. The second way is, if we are on the keyboard, all that we need to do is press the tab key. Okay. When we press the tab key, the cursor will move, straight in a straight line, just the tab key. Okay. If we wanted to move backwards in the same line, okay, what we do is we press the shift key and the tab key, and you see it starts coming back. Okay. So this was horizontal, forward and backward. The second way, if we have to move down, in the cell which is below, then we use the arrow key. Okay. We use the arrow key and you see it is coming down and down. We can also use the arrow keys to move forward as well as backward. Okay. So not to worry as to how do we move from one cell to the other. That we have to know, because then only will we be able to do proper data entry. Okay. So while I'm here at headings. Before that, I want to write serial number. Yes, Deb, you've raised your hand.
Yes, arrow and tab key will do, like right arrow and tab key will do the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, just to be clear, thank you.
Yeah. You see, you have 4 arrow keys on the keyboard. Okay. Arrow forward, backward, upwards, and downwards. You click on any. Now I'm tapping on the downward key. Okay. I want to go up. I go on the upward key. Okay. I want to go sideways. I move over onto the right key. I want to go backwards. I go on the left key. Okay. So this is one, and just remember this is more easier. Okay. Then once you get your hands onto it, we will move over into keyboard shortcuts and those kind of things. This is the easiest. You got to make your mic right, Deb.
That navigation tip is very helpful.
Okay, welcome. Thank you. So now I am on to headings. Before that, I forgot I want to write serial number. Okay. So I press the left arrow key and just type here serial number. Okay. Done. Now from here, after headings, I want to write amount. Okay, as to what would be the amount. So I write here amount. Okay. And now I want to, go ahead and fill in the details. So all that I do, serial number 1, I say headings, say, what do you call it? Mortgage. Move over, I write the amount as, say, 2,500. Moving ahead, I moved over to the next one. I want to come back. Just use the the arrow keys. I write here two. Okay. I write here, after that, okay, mortgage. Now I need to pay for my car payments. Okay. Not to worry that, I wrote in column B and it is coming over to column C. No, it is still in column B and it is still in the, in the, what you call it, in cell reference B4. As I tap on it, you'll still see payments is overlapping. You'll still think what's happening here, but not to worry. My car payments are 700 deposit. As I hit that, it's there, 700, and the car payments still remains there. I come down, okay, go into serial 3. After that, I have groceries. I spend, say, 2,900. Okay. Coming back, I have 4. I have insurance. I pay, say, $300. Okay. Now, coming back, I write, gas. Okay. $300. Coming back, I write 6. Okay. I write, say, taxes. I put them off every month. $200. Okay. Now, you would say that, okay, there would come a time. The first things first, in cell reference C2, where car payment is, you see it's hidden. Not to worry, whenever we need to see it, we just take our cursor in between B and C, and you see its shape changes. Okay. As it changes, we just do a left click. Okay, twice. Depending on how the click of the mouse has been set at your end, we just click on it, and you see the whole thing appears here. Okay. Now, the after this, okay, we've done all this, and I don't find it right. I want, still to we have in between, in between headings and amount. I want to place quantities there, but then how will I do it? Do I copy, cut, paste everything, or do I just insert a column? But best way is inserting a column there. Okay. Otherwise, what we would do, we would come up here, select all this, cut it off, move to the next column, then paste it. No, that's not the right way. Okay. I do a Control Z, and now here, what I do, I just go to the top of the column, and you see the column gets highlighted and the cursor changes its shape. It becomes an arrow. Okay, let me, okay. You see, it becomes an arrow. Okay, and I do a right click. Okay. As I do a right click, there comes an insert option. There we go. This gentleman is ready to be filled in. Okay. So this is how we insert columns. Okay. Similarly, this is the easiest, the easiest way that I'm talking about, especially from the basics. There are shortcuts also, there are commands also, but then most of us use a mouse. Okay. So if we have a mouse to begin with, best learn with the mouse and then move over, graduate into using shortcuts and the command. Now, in between, okay. Now this was, I just write here, say quantity, and we are giving mortgage payments for 2 houses. Okay. Car payments for 3 of them. Okay. Groceries only 1 for 1 home. Insurance we are paying for, say, 4 of us. And gas again for, the 3 cars, and taxes just for my own self. Okay. So we inserted a column and we just wrote it there. Okay. So anywhere, and the best thing is, Ruth, you've raised your hand. Is there anything I can help you with? If you could put your, do you know, are you aware of the chat feature, Ruth, in Zoom?
Yes.
Can you put your query in the chat? Because your voice is not reaching me at this end.
Okay.
So I'm unable to solve your query. Okay. I'm waiting for your query, Ruth. I will respond to that. It's my duty to do that. Okay. So we see that, the column appears here. And like I said, now in between amount and delete, amount and quantity, I want something else. I just go up there, the whole thing gets selected. I do a right click and go on to insert. Okay. There, the thing is, when we insert columns and rows, the serial number does not change. Okay. At the top, I mean, in the basic, like for example, if you see, we just started with the, when we started the content. Okay, I'll show that. Now, if you look at, A, B, C, right? Columns A, where there is serial number, columns B, where there are headings, and column C, where there is quantity. If I insert a column in between B and C, this needs to be noted. I go into insert. I will be inserting column C here. Okay. The column for the quantity will then become D. Okay. So we need to be a little, cautious about that. And just for, information and nothing very specific, information still remains there. The other thing, this was, what we did was we inserted, columns. Sorry, I'll just insert one column here. Okay, we inserted columns. Now, to insert rows, same process. Okay, it's the same process. We go back and where the row numbers are. Okay. For example, yes, Deb, you have raised your hand.
Yes. Before you go to the rows, if I
Yes.
wanted to take column E and put the amount before column C, put it between B and C,
Okay.
can that whole column be moved?
Oh, yes. Same way, except for insert. What we do, we select this whole, with the first pass is, the same. Then I do a right click, and
Yes.
from here, if I don't want, there are 2 options you get, cut and copy.
Okay.
Okay. I do the cut, and you can see the whole thing, it is already cut. I come back here, okay, in between B and C.
Yeah.
And I just do insert cut cells.
Okay.
There, he's moved from E to A. Okay,
Excellent. Thank you.
welcome. So I have your, Ruth, a last part in the sense that you want me to let you know about entering data in cells. I have your question, Ruth. You have asked for me to repeat the last part. So I assume it is about entering data in the sheet. Is that so? Okay, I will again do an enter data. Just let me finish the 2 steps more, and I will do that again. Okay. Now, in the way that we entered, we created these columns. Same way we can enter rows also. Okay. For example, in between 2 and 3, car payments and groceries, I need to insert another row. Okay, I want to write there my medical, bills. I come up to, this row here, and the same thing. Right click, and there is insert. Okay, so we can insert rows and columns. Not to worry about, when we are maintaining anything that, it has to be fixed. We can do it with ease. The process is the same. And when we have to insert columns, we go to the top and do the right click and then do the insert. When we have to insert a row, we go to the rows number, okay, row numbers, and from there we do the needful. This is the basic. There are other ways also of doing it, but this is the basic thing. Okay. The second thing, another thing that we did was now this column, okay, or this row, I don't want it. I want to delete it. So again, highlight this, and after insert, we get the option of delete. I just delete it, so it goes back. Okay. And similarly, if I want to delete, first let me insert a column, then I will show that also. Now this column, I inserted this, I want to delete it, come back here, do a right click, and after insert, we get the option of delete. Okay. It gets deleted. So that is inserting and deleting rows and columns. Okay. The last that we have to cover in this is, inserting by default. Okay, by default, this workbook comes with a one sheet here. If we see at the bottom, it's one sheet. Okay. At the bottom on the left hand side of the shared screen, it's sheet 1. By the side of that is a plus sign. We can insert a sheet in this workbook. So this is sheet 1. I click on the plus, and this is sheet 2. Okay. And we can keep on adding sheets. The number of sheets depends on the on the machine, on the memory of the machine. Okay, it could be endless. I mean, not endless, but a huge number of sheets can be added. Okay. Yes, Deb.
Just to mention, I work with Apple products, so I have downloaded the free Excel app onto my tablet and phone. I believe because I'm using the free program, it is not allowing me to add only one sheet. Just to point that out.
On Apple, actually, okay, I will try that out. I have an iPhone. I will try it on that.
Okay, yeah,
I will
it's
try
telling
it.
me just one sheet is available, so I'm curious. Thank you.
I will try on my Apple device, and I will whatever solution is, I'll put that in the notes of this session. So if you get the notes, you can review what I have mentioned there. And most
Thank
probably
you.
in a couple of days, I'll be doing the intermediary also. So you can
Okay.
join me, and maybe we can, we can discuss it also.
Okay, and just to highlight that I did not do the paid version, so I think that's why.
I will check. Same here.
Yes.
I will not pay for to download
Okay.
that. Okay, because
Economy is important.
it is very important, and I use this. I've already paid for this, so why go in for there? And I will give you a substitute also about the Microsoft account. Okay.
Thank you,
Uh,
Raju. Thank you.
that is also you can do these basic functions there. Okay.
Mhm.
Next time I will share more information. Today we don't have much time. Otherwise I would have shared that today itself. So you can get at least the basics of whatever I'm doing. All that basics you can do over there. Okay. Now, referring to Ruth, if you're listening to me, I am just going to be sharing how to, how to go about entering data. Okay. If we look at now, as I had said, in an Excel sheet, there are cells. Okay. Cells side by side is rows, cells on top of each other, one stacked over the other is columns. If we have to enter data in any cell, we just bring the cursor there and it becomes slightly darker. The outline becomes darker. Okay. And we use our keyboard to type. Okay. Once we have typed whatever we need to type, in order to go to the next cell, we use the arrow keys, the right arrow key. Okay. You see it comes here in the next cell. I type in here also. I want to go further. I just press on the arrow key. There it is. Now I want to enter data below. Okay. So I press the down arrow key. And here I want to write, okay, done. I want to go back, to the key, to the cell below, B. So just the back arrow key, and we just type over there. Okay. So this is how we enter data. We enter data in cells, and cells make up the rows and the columns. Okay. So the basic thing is entering data in cells, and we enter data through the keyboard. And in order to move to the cells on top, above, below, if it's above, we use the upward key. If we have to move below, we use the downward key. If we have to move to the right, we use the forward arrow. And if we have to go back, we use the left arrow. Okay. Is that what you wanted to know, Ruth, or is there something else?
Yes. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yes, Sven, you wanted to know something?
Hi, I wanted to know when you're entering data, those cells, how come there is not, like column C is all numeric?
Yes.
How come in C11, when the letters were put in,
Yeah.
there's no error? Like, what if that was going to be, column that you go in column C, you were going to total that up at the end?
No, okay. If I were to total that at the end, then I wouldn't. And that's something that I cover in the second session. Then I wouldn't be doing this, because then
Right.
I would just be needing numbers in that, without any, and numbers in a particular format. Okay. Not haphazard, numbers in a particular format. And then I would be doing the total here.
I'm sorry, what was the last statement you just said? You said, and then,
Now, if I have to total this, okay, now, for example, there is 2,500, 700, and so on and so forth. If I need to total this, what I would do is I would just, do the is equal to and hit the auto sum. Okay. And sorry, just, I mean, if I were to total it, not to, what I would do is just hit the is equal to, and, from here to go up to this and bring it to this, close the bracket, and sorry.
oh, I see, I see.
Okay, so then I would not use any of those figures or any of the alphabets here. I would need just the figures in this.
Okay, so if you have that, say in C9, you had equals, sum of C3 to C8. What if later on one mistakenly changed, say, C4 to ABC? Would Excel give you an error to alert?
It would.
It would?
Give you an error. It would
Okay.
give you an error.
Thank you.
We can discuss this in the next session, because that has calculations and all in there. So it would be, in the interest of all, that we discuss this in the next session. If you have the time, please do join in, and I would clarify that also.
Thank you.
Well,
Formula will be introduced, no, sir.
yes,
Some
a formula
yeah.
would be introduced. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Deb. Is there anything else that?
When is your next session? Do you have that scheduled yet?
I think it should be. It would be there on the website. That much I know.
Okay.
So I would, it would be there on the website. It is just intermediate. Instead of basics, it will be intermediate.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for all of this. Excellent
Okay.
presentation. I've
Thanks,
learned a
Deb.
lot.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks for the kind words. And Enda, you're going to start working on Excel now?
Yes, and I'm going to repeat this class.
Welcome.
Take this
Anytime.
class a second time.
Anytime that it's scheduled, please do visit.
I will.
Most welcome. Most
I
welcome.
will.
Okay, so with that, we come to the conclusion of the session. Just sharing the last bit of slides that I need to share, and then hopefully meet up again very soon. Okay, there we go. Into what we did was, during the session was how to create and save a workbook, navigate tabs, groups, and commands. Very essential. Just remember these abbreviations, or important to understand cells, rows, columns, and cell reference, because when the data is large, there are individuals who may say that, cell reference this, rather than telling you, go here, go there. They might just say cell reference. Then we also inserted data in cells and in cells and columns. Besides that, we also did, okay, I missed the hide part, but that's also in the same tab. How to insert, delete rows and columns. Next session, we'll start with hiding rows, and then continue from there. But just for information, it is there. It's very easy, similar to how we inserted and deleted rows and columns. So again, thanking you all very much for your valuable time. Really appreciate that.